All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am about 50 or so hours into Arc Raiders between all of the Server Slam beta tests and full release. And so I feel comfortable finally talking about my opinion in Arc Raiders. So this game has a lot to say, and I'm going to have a lot of things to say about it. So let's dive right in. You are watching here a live match as I'm talking. So this is raw gameplay here. And I think the first easy comparison that a lot of people are going to try to make to this game is to Escape from Tarkov. Because, for one, our Escape from Tarkov is sort of the original, the one that invented this genre to a large degree, and the one that has had the largest range of success, particularly among PC and hardcore shooter fans. However, I don't think that that is what this game is trying to achieve. I think that this game is trying to split the difference between more casual versions of extraction shooters and the more hardcore versions like Escape from Tarkov. It is, for one, not a milsim. It's not really intended to be a like really hardcore, in-depth shooter, although it does have depth to it. It is not intended to be hardcore in that there is a map and a compass and mini map and all of there's some tools that are just not there intentionally from Escape from Tarkov. So that is the biggest thing that you're going to need to know about this game, is that it's not intended to be an Escape from Tarkov replacement. It is intended to draw in new and casual fans, and that has been missing largely from the genre. There were a lot of people that were hoping, myself included, that Marathon would fill that void, and there have been a lot of attempts to sort of draw in new players to the genre that have been unsuccessful. And so the greatest achievement that this game has accomplished so far is just bringing in a level of interest to a little bit more casual fans of the genre that are looking for an immersive and fun and interesting shooter where you can have the gameplay loop without having to be the best of the best hardcore extraction player. And so that is where I'll start here. This game has definitely achieved that already, and hopefully they continue to capitalize on that and draw more and more players in. The community is also really interesting and fun. There are a lot of players that will just simply let you like move about your world. If you tell them not to shoot, or if you emote to them in certain ways, they won't come after you. But again, this is an extraction shooter, so you have to be prepared for the idea that at any time somebody can try to take you down. But if we are to dive into the actual gameplay here, there's a lot to be excited about. Because let's start with the most positive thing. For one, the sound design in this game is quite possibly the best I've ever experienced in any shooter. It's just off the charts incredible. If you have a good headset, or if you turn your volume up, you're going to be able to hear players moving about the world. You're going to be able to hear announcements. You're going to be able to hear the AI engaging with players. You're going to be able to hear things that you normally would not hear in other shooters. A lot of other shooters have just not executed their sound very well. And to a large degree, even Escape from Tarkov has had issues with its sound design. But this game executes that to quite possibly the most perfect I have ever experienced. And so it's really, really positive start from them there. It's visually stunning. It's immersive. It's a fantastic iteration of everything that you want from an extraction shooter without having to be a hardcore sweat in every possible engagement. There are entire matches where you will run into, 3 or 4 players. There's matches where you'll run into nobody. And as long as you're at least decent, let's say, you're going to be able to have some level of fun on this gameplay loop. And there are going to be a lot of players that have never really experienced that before. And so it has done a great job of telling a story, introducing players to a world that is exciting and interesting and full of secrets. It is full of loot, varying tiers of loot. The AI feels fair, if not a little bit menacing to a degree, depending on the type of AI you're encountering. You're going to run into a little bit of menace, right? And so, particularly as a solo player, you're going to have to be very careful when you engage with your AI, because very quickly you can get overwhelmed. And that's the way it should be to a degree, but it also feels fair, right? So I can very easily take down a couple of drones, recover, manage it. But if I try to take on one of the like bigger spiders or some of the bigger, more threatening AI, I'm gonna really get my loadout messed up. Let's just put it that way. And so you have to make decisions and make that choice about what you're going to engage with, how quickly you're going to loot and escape, and how quickly you're going to be able to take your loot and call it a win. This game is meant to be a quick in, quick out sort of style of play. The longer that you stick around, the more threatening everything becomes, the more likely you are to encounter something that you're not going to be able to overcome. But it feels so perfectly balanced and executed that it's just insanely fun. You can go in at the start of a raid, spend 3 or 4 minutes looting, grab a couple of things, get out, or you can come across like random secrets and unlock doors. There are tons of quests and hidden gems of things that you wouldn't see if you weren't looking, or you'll sometimes stumble across things that are just accidental. Or you'll stumble across things that require some level of intention. So there's layers and depth to the loot systems that feel compelling. And as you can see right here, there's a breach system, which means you have to spend sometimes a little bit extra time looting certain boxes, and it creates that decision loop. Do I spend a second or two longer here? In some cases, you're going to have no problem with that. In other cases, you're going to want to ignore those because there's other players in the building, or because you're going to need to get out faster. Beyond that, the quests are interesting. The out-of-game and in-game progressions are insanely deep. They have promised to continue to upload more content to this game every week. And depending on the level of success, you're probably going to see downloadable DLCs. You're going to probably see weekly and monthly challenges. You're going to see all kinds of interesting things applied to this game. And so, for me, the bottom line is that Arc Raiders is the extraction shooter that I was hoping for with Marathon. It is the extraction shooter I have been waiting for years. This is essentially, for extraction shooters, what Fortnite was for Battle Royale. It is introducing a casual audience to the genre in a way that wasn't as possible for them prior to this release. The more that you play it, the better you get at it, and the more that you play it, the more fun you're going to find yourself having. It's just insanely well executed, and I can't praise this game enough or recommend it enough. If you've never played an extraction shooter, this may come as a little bit of a learning curve to you. You may run into some hard moments, but just recognize that that's part of it. Like, that's the whole gameplay loop, is that it's intended to be threatening, but the reward and the payoff is there. And they managed to pull off this balance that is special and rare. So this is a top 5 game of the year for 2025 for me. Easily one of the best extraction shooters ever made. And I cannot recommend it enough. I'm feeling about a 10 out of 10 on this one. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Where are you on this game? How long have you played it? What do you think of it? What would you rate it? Make sure to hit that sub button on the way out. Thank you so much for watching.